So you're with Sean and Andy from Tough Waterproofing, and this video is going to follow on from the one we did where we did all of our corner details and the trimming of our decks to our board with the 450 gram mat. So now that that's done, next stage now is to laminate the deck. So the tools we're going to be using, because this is a smallish area, what are we, just under a metre here, Sean?
I think it was about 0.72.
Yeah. So we're going to use the small rollers on this, but obviously on your large roof area, you're going to use your roller on a long arm. Makes it nice and easy for you to do.
Don't want to be on your hands and necks.
So we'll put that one just out of the way. There we go. So for doing this again, quick temperature check. We're still the same temperature as before, 15 degrees. So we are going to use the three scoops because we've got the right amount of material in there.
So I put a litre in there, so a litre, 3 scoops.
So that's going to be 3 scoops.
So in fact we should have a little bit left over because the coverage rate was 0.85.
Yeah, so you're going to be just under a litre per square metre to basically, for your base coat and to get your mat into and saturated. The top coat, when we come to that, we're going to be using about half a litre per square metre.
Yes.
So I'll catalyse this, Sean, if you want to just obviously explain to those.
Once we cut all our matting, we will then roll them all back up. Obviously this is on a very small scale, so you probably wouldn't do it, but just to demonstrate. And then obviously we'd leave all our rolls of matting in their respective lanes. Okay, so simple as that. It's easy to work with because we work in metre sections basically.
Great. So that's our 3 scoops per litre for that. Give that a nice stir up. And again, as we said earlier, we don't need to use the paddle roller for this.
No, we just use soft rollers, and what we do is we wet out. You explain. With a standard system, it's a wet on wet. This is more embedment. So what we tend to do is put more of the resin onto our deck and let the matting, as you'll see in a minute.
So a 20 square metre standard GRP roof, to laminate it on your own, although it's possible, you are really going to have to work hard and fast. You're going to know you've done it, aren't you?
You'll be doing it in small quantities, and you'll be like those actors that play 2 parts, running from side to side. Whereas
with this, if you said to me, do 20 square metres on your own, I would feel totally comfortable with that.
Absolutely, but now you've released a person, so I could be laying a rod, and then your colleague can then follow you down the roof, so it's twice as quick to lay basically.
Now, another benefit of this system is that we want to be laying this in dry weather. So if I know there's rain in 5 minutes, I'm not going to be laying it. However, if we get this laminated and get it down, and then the worst thing happens, the heavens open, this system is going to cure underwater, Sean, won't it?
Yes. Yeah, obviously, you know, if it starts raining while we're doing it, I wouldn't carry on.
No. Because
the matting's going to start falling down because the resin, the damp will affect the binder. But if it gets wet, happy days. You're going to have
no scraping off those couple of last runs that haven't managed to cure before it got wet. And that actually is shown in that video on our website, isn't it? Where you know that section that we were doing on that roof that day got wet.
Yes. Yes.
So, so obviously there Sean's putting down a nice thick base coat because we want that mat to go into that base coat, but we also want the mat to almost kind of absorb it, so that when we start consolidating with our application roller, the chance of pinholes with this system, if the base is right, pretty much non-existent, Sean.
Absolutely, yeah. So as you can see already,
it's already starting to drop into it. So if I can then, with my finger, just with a little bit of pressure.
That's impressive, writing upside down.
Yeah. I know that we've got a good level of resin on there.
So with the dry roller now, I mean, I can apply some more under it, but what we just want to do is just push that matting down.
So we're basically setting that mat into that resin. That is looking pretty good.
Again, if I need to apply a little bit more resin on top, because I think it's maybe a little bit light.
Light through there, yeah.
So I'm going to now, if you scale this up, I'm going to work on my next metre.
Sean. There we go.
It takes a while for the roller sleeves to work properly, so the first initial bit will be a little bit light, maybe, and you apply a little bit more. And I've also noticed where I'm overlapping with my feathered edge, 2 inches, 50mm, old school. I'm putting a little bit more on. So just going to even that out. I don't know about you, Andy, as well. I tend to find this doesn't splash as much as the
no, for some
system.
reason it really doesn't.
Even though the resins cover nicely.
There we go, just positioning them up.
And as you see, we're pretty much spot on there.
Yep. So when you are basically consolidating this, what you're looking for is for those fibres to lose their straight line pattern and to swirl, aren't you? You can do that. It doesn't really matter which way you tend to roll this. Again, I've kind of got into a bit of a habit of doing that diagonal one as well, but now we can see those fibres are really starting to move.
Yeah, I don't know if it picks it up on the film, but you can just see it moving around on that top there, and you're looking for, as I say, as you said, that swirling pattern.
Effect, yeah. And looking over at that now, pretty much as I would expect, Sean, no pinholes.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
So again, maybe a little bit light just at this end here.
Yep. You can always put that little bit extra on, can't you?
And that's bringing that up nicely.
Now at this stage, we've got the option here, haven't we? We can either just second coat these trims now.
You could do.
Or we can do those as part of the top coat, can't we?
Yes.
So maybe with this one we do it as part of the top coat.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easy to do all that in one go, but again, if you've got a little bit of resin left over and you
don't want to waste it,
you could then use that as your second coat.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that's looking really good now. And as you see where that feathered edge was down the middle there, well, you can't see it.
You can't really see it, can you? The other thing as well is now for top coating of this, we would always say get your top coat on that day of installation, and that's good on a small roof. If you're working on very, very large roofs, it might be that you're going to be top coating tomorrow. If you're going to top coat today, once this is cured enough to walk on, brilliant, get on there, get your top coat on. Now, if you don't want to leave it more than a couple of weeks.
No,
really,
definitely not.
we definitely won't. But if we're not doing it today and you're leaving it for that extended period of time, now chances are it's probably going to get wet, it's going to have condensation, maybe a bit of rain on it. So when we come to that final coat, if it's not been done today, we are going to clean that up thoroughly with acetone. Something we don't do with the standard system, but with this system, we get our rags, nice saturation with the acetone, and we'll give it a really good wipe. Let that acetone evaporate, dry off, and then this system is ready to recoat.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so that's our waterproofing done as much, and now we're going to be looking to put the top coat on, which we're going to do on the next video.
Next video. See you on the next one.